Previously on Raider Power, Texas Tech Track and Field.
Good job. Good job.
You know, at this level, you have to have good practices. You have to get confidence. You have to go into, and I think having great practices create tremendous confidence. And then you go into a meet not scared and just do some great things.
I walked out to practice today from our meet, and I was encouraged with our meet. I thought that everybody, for our first meet, it was real important that everybody kind of dusted the dew off or whatever and got started. And some of you did really well, and some of you didn't do as well. Some of you not as in good shape as others. But one thing that I noticed when I came back today was, and I mentioned it to Coach Miller when I was looking up, you know, my group worked out extremely well today. The sprint group worked out extremely good today. I'm trying to find somebody that I didn't think was working good today.
I want the kids to be consistent with an attitude and with a work ethic and everything that they do. And I think that creates consistency when we do that.
There was an atmosphere today, there was a climate set today that people are going to work, and I noticed it. Your head coach noticed it big time.
Working out hard, that's a given at this level. You can't fool yourself. You must know it. And I try to be honest with them. When they're not working, when they don't have a good day, I try to say, hey, you know, you didn't have a good day today.
I'm very pleased with that, and I'm going to honor you and tell you that when it happens. I'm also going to tell you when you're not working hard. I'm going to be honest with you.
I expect them to work hard every day and to come to work ready to go. And so those are the two things that just have to happen.
How's the book, Boston? How's the mind as your ally? How's it going? Just don't look at the stuff that's underlined in there to think that's some crucial points, but it is. I have a lot of suggested readings. I've done that my whole career because my coach taught me that, you you might think you know it all, but you don't. And unless you surround yourself with other resources, and I work with pretty highly educated young men and women here at Texas Tech, and they understand that they can read and critically analyze information. But I'm a big believer in the mind as an ally, and that young people have to understand that they have to have control over what they think and how, because that sets up everything. So we load it and then we lock it in. Mm-hmm. Just like this picture. I do a lot of teaching with visual still pictures. I call them technical landmarks. Not a film loop, but a picture at a certain point in a technique that they have to try to emulate. Therefore, when this person pushes out the blocks, they're going to move and drive through the box and not the triangle because of these nice shin angles. And I want them to see the position first before they tried to attempt it. And that's basically was a picture of the set position in the starting blocks prior to the gun going, and what type of angles the shins and the femurs and the body position should be in the set position. And there will be flexion established when the hips rise above the shoulder axis. See that line right there? Shoulder axis, hip axis above shoulder axis. My postgraduate work was done in exercise physiology, and it just basically helped me understand the science of the human body by creating less of an angle in your back knee, which gives you the ability to drive out better, right? And so I think you have to have a strong background in the sciences to understand what, as a coach, what stimulus and what you expect how them to respond. Corey, let's just get ready to go again, okay? want you to go from that same mark back again.
One of my first mentors from the technical realm of teaching was Tom Tellez, very famous coach. He's most well known for being Carl Lewis's coach for all the years in the long jump and the sprints. Allowed me to come watch him work. And in the jumps, he told me that 90% of the distance or the height of the achieve happens before they leave the ground.
Don't drift out wide. Stay on line. Stay on your line. Good. That's going to work. Good.
So I spend a lot of time teaching kids that jump off the ground, whether it's in the long jump, triple jump, high jump, or vault, what to do before they leave the ground. And so I do a lot of teaching of approach work and how to set up the takeoff.
You know, you were posturally, you're probably a little bit in here, you were steering for it. Trust it and stay up, okay? Trust it and keep your chest up and keep your visual cues, okay?
In the high jump, I use mainly two visual cue reference points. One is during the straight line of the approach, and then the second visual cue is prior to entering the curve of the high jump. They anticipate this change in the visual reference point.
Go to purely visual cues now, okay? Because the stride pattern was outstanding. Sight your targets and don't take your eyes off of it.
Some coaches use the middle of the crossbar. I choose to use the high jump standard opposite from where they're approaching from. So a young man like Jacorian Duffield,
find that rhythm. I love the last approach. It was great.
He comes from the left side in the high jump, so he jumps off the right foot. So his visual reference point during the curve is the right or the far opposite high jump standard, and that junction to where the crossbar and the standard meet. And I want him to lock onto that all the way through the takeoff and during clearance, because that is an immovable object, and when he's off the ground, he knows spatially where he's at during the jump.
Anticipate when number 5 contact hits outside foot, it's turning in, okay? That's establishing your curve, and you should already have gone from visual to there before that. You should be already picking that up, right? Getting on line. Okay. Good, you're ready. See ya.
We're not trying to get into top end speed today at all. We're just trying to teach so you can apply. The next time you come back out, you'll have a better understanding. Ben is going to be working with our short sprinters, you know, and he's kind of learning on the fly, you know. He didn't have a fall, you know. He played football in the fall.
And it'll be Ben McCroy from the far side, slipped a little bit at the 6, now comes straight up the hash mark, has a hole, he's at the 30, cuts outside the kicker to the 40, and gets all the way across the 45 to the 47-yard line.
So he's just learning, you know, and so for him, you know, he'll get better. He just has to get in there and understand what we're doing. And he's a natural sprinter, so he's talented. He'll pick it up pretty quick. And so what you got to think about doing is when you get out of the blocks, you got to think about that itself, thinking about big force, short amount of time. You're thinking about loading and repeating, loading and repeating. Ben he's definitely a wonderful student athlete, and he learns pretty quick, you know. And so I'm trying to just walk him through things. He just wants to go. Where you're focusing on big force, short amount of time, get to the top of your run. So I want you to watch these guys as they go, and as they get further down the ladder, he's focusing on getting his knees up, putting it down and repeating it, putting it down and repeating it. Okay, that's what we call working on getting the top end speed or working on your technique as far as getting to the top of your run and what you're doing as far as force application. Okay, all right, Ben, push. He hasn't run track in 2 years, you know. So for me, I just want Ben to come in and learn, you know, what collegiate track and field is all about. Ben, that looks good, but just make sure as you go from a push phase to you starting to stand up naturally, let your torso come and let the knee get parallel, okay? A good gauge, okay, all right? For every action, it's gonna be a reaction. So if you bring the thumb underneath your chin, that'll force you to get the knee up. And, you know, he has to understand that there's technique, you know, has to be involved as far as competing at this level. You know, in high school, he would just get in the blocks and run, and he can beat pretty much 90% of the people. What I want you to do is understand everything what we do from the beginning to the end as far as the technique. Track and field is a progression sport, and we want to do it the right way. Ben has a lot of talent, you know, and for me, He just needs to get into our environment and really learn what we do. You know, he's a natural sprinter. He's got tremendous turnover. Turning, boy, turning. Ben, make sure you accelerate. You're getting the top end speed too early. Push. Hey, think about this. What you're trying to do for the first part of it, the ladder, is you're trying to load and push. Let the turnover come later, okay? The turnover is happening at the first 5 meters. And I'm gonna tell you something. When you get around guys that are just as fast as you, there's no way you can turn for 100 meters. For the collegiate level, everybody's fast, you know, everybody's talented. And so Ben is, he's learning, it's kind of learning by doing. He came in, about 3 weeks ago. And so we're just trying to walk him through everything. You hold yourself back, and let yourself naturally get up, and let the acceleration and the turn come later on down the track, okay? Because what you don't want to do is turn here.
So I just want to drive here.
You want to push. Good 100-meter guys gonna run less than 50 steps in a race. If they're gonna run 10-3 or better. Being that he's a short sprinter, I kind of understand what he's going through. And so for Ben, it's just basically, going through the process, not trying to put too much on him, right now. And he's a natural sprinter, so we want him to just learn. Good. Much better, Ben. That wasn't bad. Hey, that wasn't too bad.
If you come and hit here, you lift early, it's probably going to come out low and off to here. And if you stay here, if you never lift at all, then you're not maximizing what your finish.
I've heard stories about a $12 part keeping a $50 million airplane from flying, and it's that way in throwing. Just one little small mistake can keep the whole machine from working the way it's supposed to.
All right, how's that feel? Move it to 0. Your last catch. Push the ball to 0, then you'll lift.
And that's really what we do all year, is trying to get that machine working exactly how it's supposed to work. And then with the throwers I have, if everything's working exactly right, we're going to be right there at the top.
You want to keep the ball moving until you get to 0, till the ball's facing right here. You push the ball to here, then that's when you lift with it.
I'm watching to see if the ball's moving rather than they're moving. What you want to happen is you move the ball and then you go with the ball rather than you move and make the ball go. It's usually you're trying to go with the ball.
Now you want to keep the ball moving. Watch. Yeah, watch. Keep it moving.
So I look for, is the ball moving? Are the angles right? Are they turning the corner? Are they? Is their weight evenly distributed? Are they falling? I'm really looking at angles.
Everything looked good. You got here. Now you want to stay hooked up with the ball, so your right side pushes the ball from the ground up. Everything's connected here. Now you're hooked up. What you did there is you didn't stay hooked up from the ground. You started pushing here. You see it? Now you're unhooked, so now, you see where I'm coming from?
What I mean by being hooked up to the ground is when you're pushing the hammer or you're pushing the weight. A lot of people think that you're going to pull it and all that. It's really more of a pushing action, okay? And you can push with your arms, but if you're not hooked up from the ground up, then you're going to have problems there.
So you don't disconnect and just push with the upper body, and you're not pushing from the ground.
The legs.
Yeah, the right side is from the foot up.
Don't just push the hammer unless it's coming from the ground up, where you're stable, where you can get some energy from the ground. And a lot of times people will try to push the hammer, but it's from the waist up, not the ground up, and so now they've lost leverage.
You see where I'm coming from?
I enjoy the teaching aspect of it a whole lot when I can see that it all pays off. It can get very frustrating when you don't see a final result that you're looking for.
Okay, Kyle. A little better, now a little high.
I guess it's kind of like putting together a 1,000-piece puzzle, and you get down to that last piece, and it's like real gratifying when you can put in that last piece.
All right. Don't try to reach out, up, and let your body travel. Put the force in, up again. With Avril, we were working on our step fizz because our step fizz is pretty much not what it should be. Take your time, timing. There's more timing. You just stepped a little bit on that. You never jumped on that.
It's a very technical event for one, and for your hop, you have to have certain ratios to get to project in the sand to have a certain jump distance, basically. So it's very important to have a good technique, which will have a better jump.
Drive up with the opposite knee. No, you're toeing, don't toe. It's kind of like an actual step when it's supposed to be a jump. So we were working on that, trying to get out of the high school stepping stuff. You're stepping too much and you're getting out here. You want to get more of this action because when you pull here, the problem we are having is because she came in January and we didn't have a fall together. That's what's making it so hard for her. No, 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 no. No, 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 no.
Basically learned a new technique altogether. Coming from the Caribbean, I've learned a different approach, different landing, as well as in my phases I've learned to how to hop better and have a better step as well.
There we go. There we go. That's a little better. Good. What I try to tell my athletes is it's not the destination, it's the journey. You know, if you have good days and bad days through the journey, you'll feel more accomplished when you get to the destination. And you always remember that. There we go. You're good. So for me as a coach, you know what I mean, and that athlete, you know what I mean, it's a great feeling when you accomplish what we're trying to get done. That is one of the best feelings that you can get as a coach. Don't drop a pen off at once. Don't do this. Don't do that. I just love to get into the trenches and go to battle with my kids. You know, especially when we know that we've done everything we can to get to be successful. You know, so I just live for it right now. All right, good. Good. Now you know what you do from there? From there, keep the hips tall and let the legs cycle through. All right?
You know, he brings an international flair to our staff. He's from Barbados. He's a two-time Olympian. He's winning the decathlon and the 400 hurdles. He really knows every event. He's had an opportunity to compete at the highest level. He's younger. I think he relates to them very well, and he's been a competitor. So like I say, he knows when they're telling him how he's feeling. I think he understands that.
It allows you to have a little bit of empathy with the kids. You know what I mean? You can say, okay, well, we'll back off a little bit today because you're not feeling right, or what the kids is because you've been there. Do the same thing off the board. Finish the hop. So you gotta come through, let it drop, and rotate through so you can put your hop in. Not only from the aspect of athlete coach, but as from the aspect of a grown adult to a young kid growing into an adult. You know, because I try to teach them life skills, you know, things that they need to know or need to have for when they leave this arena. Step is a jump, so you're going up. Horizontal speed gonna still carry you forward, so you don't have to try to reach out.
He's like my father away from home, so I can talk to him basically about any issue that's bothering me, as well as I have a good student-athlete relationship with a coach, which I can trust.
All right, Alvaro, don't change it. Now do the same thing. Same thing now. Run off the board, stay tight, don't reach out. Keep running. You reach. So we spend a lot of time outside of actual practice, you know, where we just sit and we talk. And I think that is where I do my best coaching. You know, when we sit and we talk about everyday life. Keep running, keep running. All right, all right, all right. That part of it I enjoy a lot, you know, especially when you see the changes, you know, see it going from a kid to an adult, you know, it makes me feel blessed to have the opportunity to do that.